Good morning, Instagram. This is my actual very first live on Instagram on my account. And I'm going to be talking to the really amazing Cosmos M.D. Now, I just need to figure out. Oh, here we go. There we go. Hopefully, they'll get on. Um, this,
Oh,
this,
it's working!
it worked!
Hi, Sonali.
Technology. I wasn't sure.
And no, speaking of technology, my phone has a messed up charging system going on. So it's on a charging station. I'm holding it up. Can you see me?
I can.
Okay, I hope it doesn't fall. It is so good to be here with you. I'm so happy we're
Oh,
doing this.
it's
Thank you
so
for
good to have
inviting me.
you. Of course. Well, I have to share. Well, I want to share a lot, but I want to introduce you, um, and and also want to share that the entire bio, this beautiful bio, is on the post where I talked about this live, so in case so anyone can refer back to that. But Cosmos M.D., also known as Meenakshi or Meena, is, I'm going to read a little bit, a 48-year-old proud wearer of her gray, a gender and sexually fluid human, mother to an incredible 18-year-old son, a love, sex, and relationship and empowerment coach, a family medicine and functional medicine and palliative care doctor in Boston, a painter and a blogger. So, oh, you're so many things.
As we all are, my sweet love.
And there's so much in this bio about coming out and you wanting to support others in coming out and what coming out means, like in all the different ways, right? But I want to read what you wrote at the end because that really spoke to me with this concept of sensual sovereignty. You said, it says, her mode of operation is to break norms, think outside the box, and then smash the box and burn it.
Yes.
Speak up and be true to who you are. Yes, burning the box. I was like, that's
Smash it all.
amazing. Well, thank you so much. And this is kind of funny for us because we really have spent the last 4 weekends together in some form or another. Because it was such a gift to be on your podcast and to explore so many different areas and explore my journey. And I really right away thought of you in this exploration of what I'm still leaning into it, right? I call it sensual sovereignty. And I think of it like embodied love, liberation, and the license to expand the expression of our essence, our true essence.
Totally.
And in that journey for me, it was a lot with connecting to the body and becoming aware and knowing what kind of oppression we're holding in our bodies, and then freeing ourselves from it, liberating from it, this whole process. So this last piece about burning the box really really fits. And I wonder if you could share maybe like a turning point or a decision that you made in your journey that really allowed more authentic expression of your essence.
Oh my God, I think it would be getting divorced. First off, I want to say thank you so much for creating this space for us together. It has been so much fun to be with you on that podcast. And I love that we're just continuing the conversation in a different way. And I love that we're together on Instagram Live where the audience is so different and unique. So, so thank you to everybody that's listening. I really think my divorce was the spearheading. It's not related to coming out, but it is like in the definition of coming out, but it is related to my coming out in a different way because I look at coming out as a really expansive term. coming out of anything that's difficult, anything that you're hiding from,
Mhm.
anything that you're holding shame for, anything that's traumatic. And I was holding a shitload of shame, Sonali. I was in an abusive relationship. I was married to somebody that didn't give a fuck about me. And I was experiencing so much trauma, and I allowed myself to stay.
Mhm.
And I didn't give myself permission to think about myself. So the divorce was only because my son was born. And had he not been born, I don't know if I would have had the bravery and the courage to step out, because I wasn't really honoring myself enough. So I think when I really claimed my authentic power was when I was this lioness taking care of this little baby and saying, I'm not staying in this marriage now. This is not good enough, and it's not what I want from my child. Equal to not good enough for me. And that is when I began my journey of really tapping into, wait, who am I? What do I want?
Yes. Oh, thank you for sharing that. And I also just from what we've shared in these last few weeks, I know how close you are to your son, how like a special relationship that is. So it really sounds like he was part of your liberation from
Oh
the
my God,
marriage.
it was the beginning of it, without any
Yeah.
question, Sonali. I think being a
Mm-hmm.
mom can be, or being a parent of any kind, can be the most liberating experience if you allow yourself to really tap into what your
Mm-hmm.
truth is and
Mm-hmm.
consciously raise your child. And I think with raising Neil, it allowed me to design a life for him that
Mm-hmm.
embodied the truths that I wanted him to have. So
Yes.
freedom of expression, complete 100% acceptance of everything that you are,
Mm-hmm.
not putting him into a box. Like, I seriously don't like to have any boxes, even at home. I like the boxes to go away very quickly when I get my deliveries. So I was raising Neil, it was the same thing. It was like, all right, you may, when he was really young, I
Mm-hmm.
said to him, you may identify yourself as a boy, but you never know what that will be as you grow up.
Mm-hmm.
And as he was a young middle schooler, he had asked something about, am I supposed to know if I'm straight or not? Because I had a sense that he wasn't when he was very, very.
Mm-hmm.
And I said, well, do you want to have sex with girls? No. Do you want to have sex with boys? No. I said, so you don't know yet. And he thought he was supposed to know. And that time he asked was the first time he had an inclination that he wasn't straight. Now he's 18 and he just came out last month for the first time
Wow.
in front of all of his entire school audience, like 350 people, on his birthday. And he is so excited because he can say this out loud. So I think the whole idea of just embracing, when you talk about sensual sovereignty, just embracing your personhood, whatever that may be,
Mm-hmm.
and allowing yourself that freedom to accept all of it and
Mm-hmm.
be who you are. And I think what's really important to me is to also remember that it can change constantly.
Yeah. It's not in a box, right?
It's not in the box.
Whatever we
It's an
decide, whatever we
amorphous
claim.
gas.
Yeah. Oh, but that story, like, as you know, my past work was as a child and adolescent psychiatrist, and just hearing how you've been able to liberate yourself, free yourself from boxes, express freely. Like, I can just imagine the impact that's had for your son, that he didn't have to have shame around any of this, or he could be free to be whoever he is, you know?
I'm happy. I'm so happy and so grateful that I have a community here that supported that. It's
Mm-hmm.
really, I know when Hillary Rodham wrote that book, that it takes a village, people have
Mm-hmm.
always chuckled about it because that's like a statement that's so old, but it's so real. There
Mm-hmm.
is a lot of truth and honesty in that. And it does indeed take more than a village, it takes a globe. So
Yeah.
raising Neil solo, it really wasn't completely solo. It was me, yes, as the single mom, and but then I had my mom and I had my brother and my sister. Even though everybody was in different parts of the world, they were part of this family that he could
Mm-hmm.
feel he belonged to. because his father terminated rights on him when he was 6 months old. So he wasn't in his father's community at all. So it was really important to me that when there was a grandparent day or a grandfriend day, that he had somebody show up. So my friends would show up because my mom and my dad were not in the country. So I'd ask my friends, will you show up as a grandfriend? And I think that's when I say takes a community. All these people were in his life to love him and to recognize him and to honor him. So now he is really, by definition, your sensual sovereignty. He represents that. And I'm really proud of that. I'm really, really proud that he is so comfortable being who he is.
Yes. Oh, celebrating that. And his coming out last month on his birthday and all the things.
Like a rebirth.
Yeah. I also want, because your work is so fascinating, your journey with your work, and also to me is very much about this sovereignty, this sensual sovereignty, like knowing your own path and then wanting to share it with others and going way outside the box in all the ways. I wonder if you could share whatever calls to you about sharing your path, with your work, with your services you're offering.
I think burnout. We'll start with that.
I can relate.
For anybody that's a working human in this world, everybody is comfortable and I think familiar with that word burnout. Nobody's comfortable being burnt out. So I was a medical director of a really big department in the hospital in the university in Boston. And I was working full time and raising my, at that time, elementary school son. My family wasn't local and I was doing it all. And I felt like I had to be the superhero, always doing it all and not asking for any help. And I was feeling it. I was really feeling it, Sonali. It was like everything that you can imagine a human would go through, where you would feel like you're being pulled at the seams. And it was like, okay, just one more and I'm going to tear. I didn't let that happen. I was in therapy and I was taking care of just my body, going to different types of healers. And then I realized I needed to take a different route. I'd always embraced the concept of the whole body, the whole person, Ayurvedic way of life, living in India. My mom used to put haldi, turmeric, on my ankles when they were sprained. And I was 7, 8 years old. And now I recognize how smart that was. She knew what the content of that was. Yeah. So I was familiar with it. So I used to do that kind of work in my inpatient and outpatient sessions with my patients in different ways. Like I would, if they had a high heart rate or a high blood pressure post-op, and I was called from the resident room or something else to go and see them, I would first find out, are they in pain? And then I would do a guided imagery with them. And I was like literally an intern or a resident, so I was very new in this field. And their heart rate would come down, their blood pressure would come down, and the nurses would be surprised. They'd be like, what? That worked? So we're going to wait. We're not going to give this person medicine yet. Let's wait. So that became my path, like naturally. So when I was burning out, I realized I wanted to embrace that more. So I found other people that practiced the same way. And I was surprised to find a group called functional medicine. I say, oh, wait, there are more people that think like this. This is great. So I joined this amazing functional medicine group. And then we started to develop a beautiful practice of having, I don't know if you've been in this kind of environment where you can have an acupuncturist and a healer and a doctor and a physical therapist and a chiropractor and nutritionist and everybody together in one place. And your one person, your patient, can be seen by all these different people. And you can go and get a healing session with a craniosacral therapist and walk down the hall and go and see your doctor. It was really awesome. But when that started to get really big, it wasn't sustainable. So the person that started this had to shut it down. So then I decided I want to bring that to the masses. I'd always been in community medicine. So I brought functional medicine to the community and thought, all right, let me make this work as an experiment. Can I, with insurance, have patients get functional medicine care in a setting where it's a one-on-one without all those other types of people? And it so far has worked. So it's been 6 years in Boston, and I love it. And then I explored more about myself, and as I think, become more spiritually developed and as a soul, I do a lot of spiritual medicine with my patients when I talk with them. I wanted to do more. And then, so not burnout, more of deep desire. Like these conversations are profound, but they're not long enough. They're not deep enough. I want them deeper. And I explore coaching. And so how you and I met through Vita.
Yes. So that led you to find Vita to
Yes,
deepen.
because I wanted to deepen my own practice. So I went to Vita as the Vita, the Vita program that you can do as an individual to work on pleasure.
Yes, the membership.
So I did that, and I was so amazed and impressed. And within 3 months, I was connecting with my body in ways that I wanted to, but I didn't understand. But people would say to me, healers would say to me, what does your body say? I used to get so pissed. I used to be like, I don't know what the fuck you're talking about. I don't know what my body is saying. What do you mean? I always wanted the brain to tell me. And when I did this course, I said, oh, okay, I get it. So I thought, okay, if it was this profound for me, it will be this profound for my clients, for my patients. Let me make this into my next community experience for myself. And so my career path changed and became coaching, the training with Layla.
Yes.
And I am never going to go back. The blend of medicine and coaching to me it's almost like they coexist. They always have. As docs, we've always been coaches. We've just separated a lot of that. So
Yes.
bring it back in.
Yes. Yes. And I want to comment on part of your journey that you shared, because I don't know if people listening will really understand how innovative it is to have functional medicine in a community medicine kind of setting. That's very, very rare, because I was heading in that kind of in that path. I didn't do the whole functional medicine, but I was looking at all those things, and what I did see were like where functional medicine was kind of boutique medicine, like people can then spend a lot, like a doctor could spend a long time then with the patient or whatever, but it was in this very kind of elite kind of thing, like it was very expensive and those kinds of things. So that in itself, that you in your path like brought it into this setting where it was accessible to a lot of people, I think is really important and revolutionary. Really, it wasn't anything that I was hearing about.
Well, thank you for saying that, Sonali. I so appreciate that. Thank you. I wanted to make it more accessible, and I'd like a challenge. So I thought, can we do this? What's the worst possible thing that would happen? So
that's what happens when you burn the box,
right?
You create some challenges, some opportunities, right, to innovate.
To co-author a book and call it "Burn the Box."
Oh gosh, and yes, and then finding your way through your own path to this coaching where you can spend a lot of time, you can be a guide and a teacher and a coach, to those who are wanting to go deeper, wanting to connect more spiritually, wanting to connect to their bodies. Is that just like what you were describing? I think for me also, like connecting to the body was not something I knew how to do, had any support in knowing how to, even though I'd done lots of things, but it wasn't really until I think this work where the connection becomes more clear, and then what that opens up once you have that connection, and it's not just like a mental thing.
When did you start to realize that, oh, I can connect to my body? At what part of your journey?
I think it's been slowly happening, but and I think when I started to learn about Ayurveda, that was some aspect of connect, because it suddenly was, well, what does it mean to be healthy? What does it mean to be vibrant? You know, like, and kind of understanding what our bodies were guiding us, are always guiding us to more balance, to more harmony. But I do think this work with Layla really crystallized it more, because we do ask the questions to connect to the body. So I'm curious, in doing that, if you can describe, either for yourself or maybe in someone you've coached, what that can open up in getting more clear with that connection.
Oh, wow. Yeah, okay. I will use an example of another person. Um, the most transforming experience I think I've witnessed so far with the clients I'm working with
Mm-hmm.
is when they connect with their inner child. So when they connect with their body, they feel something that's uncomfortable. We ask them to go to that place. So this is imagery using your breath. And the power of that is you are immediately taken out of your mind and you're allowing yourself to be and to be present. This mindful experience of breathing allows yourself to do this connection with your body. And the messages that our conscious and our subconscious and our spirit give us when we listen to our body are profound. So, what I've seen is that they'll hear a voice. They're not crazy. This is not a voice like they're schizophrenic. They're hearing a voice of their own. It's their own voice speaking and now presenting itself, its vulnerabilities, its weakness, its anger, its sadness, its joy, whatever it may be.
Mm-hmm.
And the one that I'm thinking about right now that was just yesterday was really strong. The voice was of this child that was very young, that this person remembers very, very clearly that there was a change in their life from one age to another, and the crying and the release that happened as this person was really embracing that child within themselves that was wounded, that
Mm-hmm.
had not been talked to, that had been not ignored, but had been growing up. And then that child never got its chance to speak up because that child was so young, didn't know that they could say anything. So that embodiment of that child, that inner child experience, was so transforming that not only did that process allow that person to release, the body, of course, becomes exhausted. That area was no longer, at the end, was no longer hurting, and you could this person could visualize the change in energy, like there was an imagery that was there before and an imagery that changed during and an imagery at the end, and that helped her. I'm using the word her, they do go by her pronouns, and really felt good to her that, oh my god, I did go through a process that feels different, my body feels different. And
Mm-hmm.
then there's work afterwards that now makes sense, that just to cradle that child. Now that person's going to go back and be able to access that young child, know what that young child needs,
Mm-hmm.
and separate responses. Because what we do as adults is we respond if we're triggered in ways that are very young. So when we're in an anger battle with another human, and you observe yourself or you observe the person you're getting angry at as acting immature, it's most likely because you're triggered to go to a younger age and you're actually speaking from that age. So now this person can go to that age and see, when I act like that, that's that young child that needs love. I can also now express this to my people that I'm arguing with, or my partners, or just to myself, and honor that truth. So I think that type of embodiment, it's really powerful. That's just one example of so many.
Yes. Oh, thank you for that example. It's a really beautiful way of showing what the power is of connecting to the body, connecting to younger parts of ourselves that are there and are operating in the background, without us understanding what's happening, where here we are as adults doing things, having relationships, having interactions, and not knowing that there's this younger part that will show up and is then acting in responding, right? We're reacting really in a young way, and we don't understand it. It's like bringing all that to the surface in these kind of powerful coaching techniques, coaching practices to do. And I think it really shows, it helps me to even also explain like what this journey has been for me with this sensual sovereignty, with understanding what I'm holding, understanding what's operating in the background, understanding young parts, and then having an ability to have connection, communication, to heal, to like free ourselves from these older patterns, that we're holding on to, things that have gotten really ingrained, um, in our psyche, really, in our whole way of our mind, body, spirit kind of way of operating.
And as a psychiatrist, you had experienced doing that in a very different way before you were doing the coaching, right?
Absolutely. Yeah, and as a psychiatrist, it wasn't, even though, as you know, like as in family medicine and functional medicine, like we understand the body, we understand like physiology, we can understand like, neurotransmitters, these kinds of things. Psychiatry wasn't to me about connecting to the body.
That's what's missing in medicine right now. And so
Mm-hmm.
the ability to say, hold on a second, the body was designed like this from the very beginning. Why are we moving away so far from that?
Mm-hmm.
It's so great that we're in this space. I feel like it's a paradigm shift for medicine. The more people that do this work, the more we can actually scream from the rooftops that this is the way medicine always was intended to practice. Let's go back to the way we used to practice thousands of years ago, where everybody really used their intuition. And that doesn't mean we debunk science, not at all. I'm a total believer in the need for both.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Not eliminating. I think it's so important to not remove, to
Mm-hmm.
embrace and bring together. Can't we
Mm-hmm.
be both? Can't we be intuitive and use science? Yes, we can.
Yes, yes. And embrace spirituality,
Yes.
embrace emotions,
And sex and all of it.
and
And
everything.
pleasure.
Oh, Cosmos, it's been such a joy to talk again with
I
you.
love talking to you. I wish we could talk longer. We
I
actually could.
know we definitely could.
Nothing is stopping us other than clocks.
I would love for you to share, and I don't even know how it all works, so I'll try to post somewhere as well, but I'd love for you to share how people can find you and your work, and if they're
Oh,
ready to smash the box and burn the box and
yes. Come on and join me on that party. We'll bring
yeah.
boxes together and we'll mash them and we'll smash them. I would love for anybody that's curious and interested to recognize that the different parts of themselves that they want to liberate and free themselves from.
Mhm.
I can be contacted here on Instagram at DocMinx, DocMinx, or if you use Facebook, it's under DocMK, DocMK. I also have a link tree. If you go to my bio, the link tree is there.
Mhm.
It's linktr.ee/docmk. I think you should just go to the bio. It's much
The
easier.
bio, go to the bio.
And then
Doc,
that gets you information about the coaching program and information about the podcast. The podcast is called Sublime Soul Surrender. Would love. Sonali was on the first season. She spearheaded it. So you would listen to 3 amazing episodes with her. And that podcast is also linked on the bio, but that's in Spotify and podcast for Apple and on Google and Wisdom on all these different platforms.
Mhm.
And oh my God, there's so many things. There's artwork on Etsy and there's a blog, but I think the bio is just the easiest way. I just love to create community and
Yeah.
invite anybody that has anything they'd like to share and talk about, to just say hello, and we can have a conversation, see where it
Yeah,
takes us.
amazing. Yes, and I so loved our three podcast episodes. And as you're sharing everywhere that you can be found, I'm like, yes, this is what happens when you smash the box. It's like artwork on Etsy, you got functional medicine, you got
Isn't it fun? Now
sex
what we just need
coaching,
to do,
everything.
I have to figure out how to fly and how to swim under the ocean, and then we can be in the land and the sea and the skies.
There you go.
Oh, I love you so much, Sonali. This is so
Oh,
precious.
I love you too. Thank you so much for doing this.
Thank you for
Free.
inviting me and for bringing me
Mhm.
into your space and your community. And thank you to all those who have watched us. I've seen people come and go. It was so nice to see you all.
Oh, until next time, wherever that ends up being.
Maybe we'll find ourselves flying somewhere.
I know, that's right.
Mwah.
Mm, bye.
Bye, Sonali. Bye,
I
everybody.
don't even know how to end it.
Oh, neither do I. Should we just do X? We'll call it
Oh, yeah, maybe it's just X. Okay.
three, two,
Oh.
one. X.